Welcome to the Real Success Podcast. I'm here with Christina Walter, the CEO of Night Dispatch. Welcome, Christina.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about what you do and kind of your story with Night Dispatch.
So we, short answer is when you pick up a package and it says en route, picked up and delivered, where you're watching that, we're the ones behind the scenes doing all of that through technology, using GPS, tracking, calling drivers. But it's not on the home delivery level. It's more big level, like some of your home delivery food services. We will watch the trucks pick up from the farms, watch the temperatures, make sure things are staying within the right range till it gets to the distribution centers.
Wonderful. How did you get started in this? Like, what is that process like for you?
So it was actually... So I'll start from the beginning and cut out whatever you
absolutely.
Want. It's like a cool story, but a long one. So I was laid off from Fast Track downtown. It was an old car insurance processing center. And I ended up getting I guess it would be a grant through the WIA program, Investment Act, I think. I don't know. WIA, the WIA program. So they pay for my schooling. So I went to Clark State and for office administration and worked at Hooten Automotive and Towing during that time. My mom had worked at Hooten, so Hooten's was always like a part of my life, the towing. So when I left there and went to United Fiberglass, I kept the towing phones with me. Now, the unique thing about United Fiberglass is that they were going bankrupt, and the Turner Foundation came in and bought them. I don't know why or anything for sure, but they bought them and then had some consultants come in. So I was fresh out of college and got to work with consultants where we were rebuilding this company. It ended up, we built it to like $4 million company. Wow. So I had the unique process of learning to, I had the unique opportunity to learn how to do processes. At the same time, I was doing towing. So Mike McCarty from Dan's Towing actually said, you should do like an answering service. You have great customer service. And I was like, they don't pay anything. I'm not doing that, He was like, no, do it customer service based. And that conversation with Mike is what got me thinking. And then the rest, I'm religious, so the rest was God, because everything else just happened. Dale Briggs from Imperial Express called me one day. Hey, I heard you're dispatching. And I was like, well, I guess, yeah, doing the towing phones. And it went from there. So.
Wow. What kind of challenges have you kind of faced with all of this? It can't be easy. Well, I know building a business is not easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the biggest challenge is it is a male-dominated industry. And now it's not, I don't get looked down upon because I'm a female, but it's, I'm also from Springfield, Ohio. And we started this 16 years ago. It was me out of my home. So I get underestimated, which can also be cool because we're working with some AI and technology right now. Yeah. And I've tried to reach out to people who have come from Uber and things like that with big money. They're not paying attention to me, and I'm getting ready to surpass them. And I'm going to do it quietly because I don't have their $40 million. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Speaking of that, What are you seeing in terms of like the trends with AI or the future of that? I see it a lot in my industry. I mean, It's like, I think they say like, I want AI to do my dishes and the laundry so I can be creative. And now it's being creative so I can do my dishes and laundry, which is not good. Right. But so what are you seeing with that? Right. Absolutely.
So the tech industry has actually been entering the logistics field for a good 6-7 years now, probably even more 10. It's been bigger out west, and as it started to come in here now. So what I am seeing is just more efficiency, a lot of data entry stuff you do not need. There's a lot of things, or you do not need a person for now. We have used it in the form of quality assurance. So we used to handpick certain calls and have a human audit them. Mm-hmm. Well, then it was like, okay, now I need like 6 people to do this as we've grown. Well, that's just not sustainable. Our clients don't want to pay for the extra for the quality. Quality is great, but nobody wants to pay to keep that quality, right? So the AI, we've named him Adam because he's so smart. He goes through 30,000 calls a month. Every single phone call we have. And the very next day, flags me 8 a.m. if there was anything wrong. So we've started to expand that in other ways. I won't say yet, but there's more. And we're working with other TMS softwares to kind of get them linked together to kind of communicate. A lot of people in the industry are focusing on cost savings, which is great. Everybody wants to save, money. One thing that we're doing, we're going to Vegas trade show here in February, and we're going to come out with it here. We're testing it now and then going to announce it there. But we have found ways to increase revenue through AI.
Wow.
So it's listening to certain things, pulling stuff, and our clients are actually able to bill, I always say this wrong, accessorial charges.
I can't tell you.
Yeah, so we're able to bill
sure.
accessorial charges. Yeah, so we have clients able to bill accessorial charges that they weren't able to before. So while everyone else is going on cost savings, I'm going to be coming out in February saying, let me show you how to make more revenue.
Yeah.
So.
What tools, I don't know if that's something you like, kind of secrets of the trade. What are the what is Adam? Is it like a large language model? Like what is?
It is.
Okay.
And so learning one.
Okay.
And I'm working with an engineer and a tech on that because I don't know as much as that. I know Open API.
Okay.
And I got really excited when I learned what that meant.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so it is. It's the learning language model. So it's amazing because that's been the biggest thing is you want to say, well, here's an example. So differentiating a dispatch call, which is when you're sending a driver out on the call, the very first thing, versus getting unloaded after they've delivered, because you're asking two questions. You want to make sure a driver's unloaded from his previous stop when he's at a dispatch, and going to the next one. Now, old AI used to read those together, so you couldn't differentiate them. Now it can say, with the exception of, and you put certain words in, and then Adam just learns it. It's like, you're amazing.
There's some things, like, I mean, I will have AI do things, and it is crazy. So a LUT, I forget what it stands for. It's lookup table. Basically is like a preset for video.
Okay.
And now I can go use ChatGPT and say, I want a LUT that resembles Pulp Fiction. And it will, I don't know how it does it, but because it can give you files now, it will give me a file that I can then drop it directly on the video in Premiere. I mean, and it's done no work. Like, and those are things like super kind of mundane things. Like color grading is really fun, but there's really the fine tuning is the part that AI won't replace, which is what most people do anyway, because there's a very standard process to get it to like ground zero, and then you build on that. So it's really awesome to be able to see it simplify things, because I don't think it's not yet it's at the point where it will be taking over. No. But that kind of goes into my next point now. What are your thoughts on like a fully autonomous trucking system? I know it's in the works.
Sure.
Yeah. So what does that look like?
And we've watched this from the beginning, right? Because you always have to see where it's going. So, the autonomous truck, I mean, they'll be neat. You still have to have a driver in the truck doing different things. So I don't understand the importance other than you don't have to worry about hours. Drivers are connected to certain regular hours. Now, when you're getting into more automation for the administrative back office work, it's fine. Even dispatching and stuff, that could be fine. We will never not need humans. What we would need is you'll be able to scale quicker, and you'll have because you don't need as many people to do what you want to do. But the reality is it's artificial intelligence. So you have to have smart people giving it the prompts and showing it. It only knows what you've fed it, and then, or the prompts you're giving it, unless you see this, then it could be this. So AI is only as good as the programmer and the prompter, right?
Yeah.
So you're always still going to need that. I want people to stop being scared of it, because it is also, when you have it right, it's good. People get worried about fast food, having it be robotics, but you know what? That fried chicken's going to be perfect every single time.
Absolutely.
And then let people handle more the customer service side, give them a good experience. We got to embrace it, because nobody's asking us if we want it or not. It's already here. The debate's over. So how are you going to grow with it? Are you going to be left behind? Or are you going to keep going? I was at Women in Trucking event in Dallas, and they were talking about that. And they said, when Netflix offered Blockbuster, And they said, do you want to buy in? And they were like, absolutely not. So don't be Blockbuster.
Right. Absolutely. So, well, I completely lost my train of thought now. Where was I going to go with this? One, how often do you use AI tools?
Oh, every day.
Okay, same here.
Yeah, every day.
What is your, just completely kind of sidetrack, what is your favorite tool and why?
Well, I love ChatGPT. I feel like he has become, we've named him Chad too. Reggie's actually named him Troutman, and then I went with it. I joke, I'm almost like, I feel like counseling can eventually come through AI.
There is so I don't know if you've ever looked at the GPT like store almost. You can do it in the top left.
Okay.
And people who have created GPTs, by training it, it's a public marketplace.
Okay.
And there is a mental health resource on where, so because I use mine as a business coach. I'll talk to it and I feed it my information. Like I had it help me come up with some core values because I never want it to do it for me.
Yes.
I don't want it to be like, here's what your core values should be.
Right.
But I want it to ask insightful questions like a business coach would, so then I can kind of get there myself. So have you ever used the voice mode?
Yes.
Okay.
When it first came out and we were talking, which is funny because I've asked it, hey, will AI take over dispatchers and stuff? And I've told it all the things I want to do with the AI. And it keeps reminding me how important it is to still use humans. I was like, okay, thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was like, I guess you're not taking over because voice quality is not there yet. You know, it'll come at some point, but it's not there. And there's slang. There's so much, same as using overseas.
There's a lot of nuances that it won't be able to get. Like there's I use it a lot. So Artlist is our music library. They also now have footage, but what they have come out with is a AI voice text of voiceover.
Yeah.
But not in like it sounds like a cinematic, like a movie trailer almost, and it's very good, better than some of the AI first software. So like 11 Labs is kind of AI driven voice, where Artlist was like, oh yeah, we have cool music, but also this is cool, and it's from my experience, it's far better than what 11 Labs is, which is amazing. So this next question, so you were alive, I wasn't, unfortunately, for like Y2K, like the whole 2000, like everything's gonna happen, computers are taking over. Was this fear around AI the same fear that was there for computers being big and all of this new technology emerging?
So I don't know, because it was kind of that fear, but I was also 19, so it was like nothing really mattered. But you know what I do want to compare it to, maybe? Texting.
Okay.
You might not have been alive then either. Because I was probably 19.
Maybe.
When it first came out.
I don't know, because I don't know how. I don't know the evolution. I don't know the evolution of texting,
texting
there. But yeah,
that was a big thing. Is people like, oh, I'm just going to call and say what I need to say. I'm not going to text, and there was like this resistance.
Yeah.
And now you can barely get people on the phone.
Yeah.
That's what it makes me think of a little bit more. Like, I'm not going to use it even though it's here, and you know.
Yeah. Well, anyone who doesn't embrace change is bound to fall behind.
Yes.
And that is the problem that people are missing now.
Yeah.
Like this is, like you said, AI is here. It's here to stay. It's not going to go anywhere. So your options are to fall behind or embrace it and make it work.
Yes.
And I've found ways to make it work very well. Sure, it's scary with some of the features that it can do, but I also think there is some sort of, back to what you said, the customer service side. People are going to want to be able to explain their ideas thoroughly and say, hey, here's what I want. Like, people love being around people.
Yes.
Like, you can be as introverted as possible. You're still going to want to be around a human at some point throughout your life. Like, it's never going to be you sitting in a room with a robot entirely.
No.
So that aspect of the creativity and the collaboration will never truly go away. You might be working with an engineer who's doing that, but that is just kind of that shift, which really won't be too terrifying.
So, and as we've gotten more into the AI, what my staff has said is that they like that their job's more important. So it's not the mundane, brainless kind of, I hate to say that because of quality, but you know, just repetitive. So now they get to focus on things that matter and is more creative and is letting them expand. So it's not, we will never get rid of humans. It's just they get to do more important work.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, how does night dispatch keep that human touch, kind of with what you do and the growth of AI?
So a big thing for us is we're all U.S. based, 100%. We will never be overseas. So our communication is on point because we're answering in the United States as well. It's always humans. It's never not going to be humans. Even if I have a AI 100% answering and inputting the stuff, I'm still going to have a person answer that phone. We all know when you get that, hi, it's Sarah, right? We all know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, yes, that is because customer's the biggest thing. I met with a client for the first time after 3 years in person. We have a monthly call. We video chat all the time, but sitting together for 30 minutes, we got more done from the energy and everything of the human interaction, where he even messaged like, isn't that crazy? Like, how did we get so much? And it's because you're feeding off the energy of each other. And that's it's never going to change. Because again, AI is what you teach it. They're not us. They can't critical think. They're not going to be able to. They can only critical think what you've already told it to before.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and that's, I mean, the loyalty that you would have from that too. I mean, people buy from people, not businesses. You happen to be buying from a person who runs a business. But that is one thing, because you don't ever want to be a commodity. You don't want someone to be able to do it a little bit cheaper, maybe a little bit faster. But you want to be able to have that human touch. So it's awesome that you are prioritizing that.
Yeah.
How many people do you have, or I guess how many dispatchers do you have currently?
So we are at 48 right now.
Oh, wow.
They're all around the U.S., which we have clients in different time zones as well. So it works out great. And that is one thing that's unique with us is that it's not a call center. So our clients still get the same group of people. So they build that relationship with each of them too. Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like the dispatcher is an employee of almost. Like I mean, obviously they're not, but...
kind of like leasing.
Yeah.
Or we're brokering
and we do the same thing.
Yeah.
We want to be your digital media strategist, but instead of us being on your payroll, you pay us for some videos. Like that. Exactly. That's my goal there, because it's more than just making a video, or it's more than just taking a phone call.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you get all the perks of if you had your own night shift, except they won't call in because we always cover. Even if, let's say you were working, you had to call in, well, we're going to have Bobby cover you. Yeah, our client never sees that. They don't have to manage them, deal with any of the emotions. And, that's why I joke with managers. I said, now that you're a manager, it's not about the job. It's about being a psychologist, But then they can still say, hey, Bob's not really working on here. Can we get someone else? So it's full control without any of the hassle.
Yeah, so it's a lot of like project management, which I mean, hopefully these people stay with you for a long time. But if they did happen to leave, it's nice to be able to say I've led a team and I've dealt with that versus like So that's really awesome there.
Yeah.
What was your biggest thought moment where like you kind of had a shift in how you were operating or how you were leading, something along those lines? I know that's kind of a loaded question there.
Yeah, because there's multiple ones. Well, I'll tell you. So I had the one goal to hit $1 million. That was my goal forever. I naively thought that meant a beach house and like I was going to be set for life, right? Didn't understand how that stuff went. So this, we hit it last year, and then as we've grown, it's that point of, do we go bigger or go less, right? And that's a lot to think about. And I was like, I don't know, maybe it's been 16 years. Maybe I just stay content. Then I realized only 9% of businesses make it to $1 million.
Really?
Yeah, I did not know that. I had someone tell me that, and I was
like,
that's not true. I was thinking all these big businesses, and then I looked it up. Yes, 9%, then only 6% make it after that. But the biggest part that got me, so the 9% was kind of like, okay, I'm doing all right. The hardest part is the 0 to 1 million.
Yeah.
After that, it's easier. And I was like, well, if it's easier, then let's get the freaking beach house, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Grant Cardone says something along the lines of like, your first $100,000 is the hardest money until you get to your first $1 million. But after that, it's the easiest money.
Yeah.
That's kind of my goal. Like making it to $1 million in a creative space is difficult because you have to be able to have the amount of work. Because I mean, even a $10,000 project, you're you can only do so many of those.
Yes.
And to be able to have enough client base that can afford a $10,000 project so many times is difficult. To be able to scale to that. I know a couple people who have done it, but they're like hammering the pavement every day. So like, it's a hustle for sure.
Yeah.
In terms of leadership, what are some of the skills that you think that you possess to be a great leader?
Well, so I am super grateful for the Springfield Peace Center, because when I was director there, we taught the conflict resolution and trauma-informed care training. And I became so much of a better person and a communicator. And I didn't even know I had a problem prior to that. Yeah. Not that there was issues, but then it was like, oh, wow, I'm not communicating this. So by doing that and understanding, being very empathetic and accepting what they tell me is their truth, and then going from there, that has really built a lot of loyalty. So that is one thing. All my dispatchers are super loyal to me, but I'm just as loyal to them. I make sure I don't ask them to do things that I wouldn't do myself. And, but yeah, and I know people don't say it's like a family, because families can be toxic, but it's unconditional love too. Yep. And that is like, most of our people are ride or die, and we're ride or die for them too. So
yeah, and that's kind of exactly what I was saying earlier. Like, that's my goal, to build that. Like, I love my team of contractors, but I want to be able to offer the same experience and be more than, like, I hate having to sit by myself working on something.
Yeah.
When like it's again, the collaboration side is really huge. How long were you working out of your house, just you, until you built a team?
So okay, there's two parts to that. So I worked up until, I want to say 2020 was the last time I didn't have to work myself.
Okay.
But I had people come in. I was 3 years in, and I had people come in. Otherwise, it was myself, Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 8 a.m. and 24 hours on the weekend. I don't know how I did that. And
how long were you working running night dispatch prior to 2020?
We started in 2008.
So for for 12 years, you were doing it by yourself?
Not by myself.
Oh, okay.
I did have a team after 3 years in.
Okay.
Yeah.
But even still, 3 years.
But yeah. But I did all the administrative by myself.
Wow.
Like, any administrative, invoicing, accounting, all of that. And I don't know how I did that. So,
wow.
Yeah.
And then, so 2020, you kind of came out of just being you and yourself and then your dispatchers. What was that? What happened next?
So I can't remember what made me decide. Okay, so my daughter she's going to be 15 Thursday, and I started the business when I was pregnant with her. So I've been home with her, but I haven't always been a present mother, right? Because I was working the whole time and stuff. So at some point in the last 3 years, I was like, let's take all the computers out of here. I need to separate the two, because when you have a home office, and as you know, you get like dialed in and stuff, so you can't stop. And I was like, let's just do this. My office is a mile from my home. So there's been plenty of times too that I just go leave and, let me do this real quick. But that was the biggest, like, I need to separate the two and get a healthy balance. And then it just kept going once I had an office, which is so crazy, because after I had the office, I got the visibility. So a lot of people, schools and stuff, wanted to work with me, which has been phenomenal.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I had to laugh. I remember even telling my mom one day, I was like, I've been doing the same thing for the last 15 years. I was like, but now that I have a sign, people are paying attention,
Yeah, it's crazy how that works out. Like, a lot of times. I mean, with this space, again, it's also like right down the road from my house. But I haven't gotten a sign yet, but that's my plan. Sarah's been like, you should get one. And I was like, I will. But it is, and people, especially in this area, they don't, they're not even old school. It's just like they're conditioned to, if it's not off the side of the road, like, that's why the billboards work so well here, because you see them, and like, it generates massive awareness in the way that video does too, but people don't, like, if it's a digital thing, so it's not as personal and relational to them. Well, for other entrepreneurs trying to grow, what is some advice that you would give them? So get consultants. Go to SBDC, first thing go there, get the coaches, use all the resources that you can. Look for other friends that are in business.
higher than you. One, there's this guy I know, and JD Carson is his name. I have to give him the props for this because he said, if you are the smartest person in the room, leave because you can't grow. And it was like, oh my goodness, like that's so smart, because people some will have businesses and some, then they're around people that are not trying to grow. Well, you got to feed off of others. And you probably get this too. True entrepreneurs want to help other entrepreneurs.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can call my friends now that has like $20 million company and say, hey, what do I do? Where do I get at this? And I really wish there was more masterminds.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Like,
I hate that there's not. It's because so in the video side of things, there's these amazing courses that there's like 3 different levels. The one's like, hey, here's what a camera is. Mm-hmm. Here's how it works. And then there's, hey, here's how to get clients.
Yeah.
And then the higher level one is here's how to sell strategies that actually work, which is great. But once you're doing the things, there's like, okay, you've hit 200,000 or you've hit 150, whatever. Where's the like, hey, I want to do 500, I want to do 1 million, I want to do 2 million. Like, yes. Those are the things that are missing.
Yeah.
And it's the mastermind. And then on Facebook now, if you're a video person, every time you scroll on your feed, you get at least 3 ads of like, hey, I'll teach you how to grow your video business. And they're all like teaching the same thing that I already know.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. And I don't want it to be only video related. Because
right.
like, I love being able to have people to bounce off of, like, hey, have you also struggled with that? But I have those connections now where I can. But I want the mastermind of like, hey, I'm pushing the pavement and I'm doing things, I'm making waves, but people are not answering. Like, what's going on, or why can I not get past this $200,000 block? Like, what do I have to do? And those are the things that you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
That as entrepreneurs we need, like, to be able to have that community almost. And I don't think it should be big. I don't think it should be.
No.
I think like 8 to 10 people is a great number, because you get to have the opportunity there to then grow with those 8 to 10 people.
And almost like an invitation only. Now, I'm going to sound like a jerk with this, but it's like, because I've tried to start other groups, and like to build that. And then it's a lot, and I appreciate it so much, but it's a lot of people starting up. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, can you help me? And it was like, I'm starting this to find help myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's where kind of in the videoscape thing, where it's like, hey, if you are, or even some of our services, like a lot of times our services aren't super cheap. Like, I mean, it's $20,000 for like 6 months. So we can't work with a roofer who's just starting.
Right.
So we have some like almost minimum revenue cycles. Like, if you're making $0 to $5,000 a month, we probably can't work with you.
Yeah.
If you're pushing 20 to 60 grand a month, it's typically, we could definitely work with you.
Yeah.
And then it's nice because if we work with a roofer, we can almost guarantee somewhere between 3 to 10 new leads every month.
Nice.
And if they're paying $20,000 and we're getting them a $20,000 job every month, I mean, it's going to pay off tenfold for them.
Yeah.
And they're happy. So yeah, I get that exactly. And maybe that could be kind of the, not necessarily invitation only, but to vet them is, hey, what's your revenue at? Like, if you, and it could be on
an join our group, where's your revenue? Bring your taxes.
Right, absolutely. Prove it. Yeah. Absolutely. It's like an initiation,
Taxes and biggest struggle. That's what we need.
Yeah, that would be, and I think being able to put some of those biggest struggles on there, because that is a difficult ask to get people to kind of show that. But you also have to know, like, who's in the room, because if you want these people to be vulnerable, you also have to have people that can be trusted to not say that. Not that I think anyone would necessarily, but at the same time, like, for example, I know some realtors that's kind of a cutthroat business. Like, if you have 2 realtors in there and it's like, well, I heard this, like that could just not be, it could not go well. Well, sweet. How can people get a hold of you?
So we have our website, nightdispatch.net, or that has all of our contact info, or they can reach out to me on LinkedIn, Night Dispatch, or Christina, or our phone number 937-969-4559.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Christina.
Thanks.